Hi, how you doing? Welcome back to the YouTube channel. Thanks for coming and watching the video today. Please, if you haven't already, hit the subscribe button, come and subscribe to me. Help me hit my target by the end of July of 250 subscribers here. Let your friends know, get them to subscribe as well if you can. At the end of the video, leave me a comment. If you liked it, let me know what you liked. If you didn't like the video, let me know what you didn't like as well. I just want to make it better as we go along. So, back to the regular series on covering Praetors today from March of the Machine. And today's one is obviously Jin-Gitaxias. And this one is the one that goes into the Great Synthesis when we get to the end step. So 3 and 2 blue for a 5/5 Praetor with Ward 2. And whenever you cast a non-creature spell with mana value 3 or greater, draw a card. And then as long as you've got 7 cards in your hand, you can pay 1 blue and 3 and transform it into the Great Synthesis. Step 1 of the Great Synthesis, draw cards equal to the number of cards in your hand. You have no maximum hand size as long as you've got the Great Synthesis in play. Step 2, return all non-Phyrexian creatures to their owner's hands. And step 3 is basically omniscience for any basic idea. You may cast any number of spells from your hand without paying their mana cost. Lovely. This is mono blue control and it's going to be difficult to do. So, how are we doing it? Well, the deck today looks very much like this. Having gone too fancy at all with the mana base, we've got the new Capenna lands that let's go and find an island. They're all in here. Then Castle Ventress for a bit of scrying. Fabled Passage, Evolving Wilds, Terramorphic Expanse, Reliquary Tower, Temple of the False God, Nykthos because it's a mono blue deck, and then just a whole load of islands. Now the difference with this deck compared to some of the ones I've done recently is I've gone heavy on the artifact ramp. So we have got Mana Crypt to Mana Vault. Obviously you can drop both of these if you want to do it in real life and play some more islands because we're only playing 35 lands. We've got Sol Ring, Arcane Signet, Mind Stone, and Sky Diamond and Commander's Sphere. That's where we're going with the ramp. That should be enough to get you there really quickly. We are only playing 14 creatures, so bear that in mind. And we're playing 50 other types of spells. So, what I want to do is obviously maximize my hand size up to 7 at all times. And then get this transformed so we can win that way. How are we doing it? Well, we've got all the usual 1-drops you'd expect to see in a decent blue deck nowadays. So we've got Brainstorm, Opt, Ponder, Preordained, Serum Visions are all here. We've also got Wizard class to make sure that we have no maximum hand size at all stages, just not when this is flipped into the Great Synthesis. And then 2-drops, we've got Baral, which is one of the first creatures, so we can make our instants and sorceries 1 colourless cheaper. Cyclonic Rift to do a bit of board control. Folio of Fancies is what I'm going to be trying to use as a win condition, to be perfectly honest. XX to tap it, and each player draws X cards, and then 1, 2 and a blue and tap it. Each opponent mills cards equal to the number of cards in their hand. So that's one way if we're going to try and win. All Rune Expedition is another way for us to draw cards when we get the quest counters on it with landfall triggers. Search for Azcanta becomes the 36th land in the deck when we get it to flip, which we should do quite quickly. Kami lets everyone draw cards. And Mana Drain gives us something to counter if we need to at some stage. We've also got Howling Mine in the deck, so more draw for everybody. It really does help. I'm trying to maximise getting the 7 in hand at all stages. Lab Maniac is here because I think it's going to be one of the main ways we win. The chances are we are going to draw our entire library with this deck, and therefore we do need a way to win, and Lab Maniac's a really easy way to do it, especially if we've done the stage 3 of the Great Synthesis. Time Twister is a ridiculously expensive card in real life. It's not too bad on MTGO. So again, it's another card you can drop if you're trying to build this in real life, unless you're lucky enough to own one. But for my deck, it's here because, like I say, mainly I play on MTGO. So, hey. Windfall does the same thing, more or less. Dictate of Crewfix is also here. Play this at the at the end step before your turn starts to make sure you get the first draw off of it, as always with all the dictates. Phyrexian Metamorph lets us copy one of our artifacts if we need to, or something else on the battlefield that may help us. Elesh Norn springs to mind, or something like that. Just copy someone's other thing. Inscription of Insight. We're going to go for the kicking ability on this. We can choose any number of them at that stage, and we want to do all of them probably. Return 2 target creatures, scry 2, then draw 2, and get an illusion creature where X is the number of cards in our hand. Sounds like a plan to me. Especially if we can get the invasion for Vryn to kick off as well. We get to copy target spell we control once we get it flipped. Flipping it's going to be a little bit complicated with a few creatures, but it's doable. Jace's Sanctum makes all our instants and sorceries cost 1 less, and when we cast one we get to scry, which is really nice. Archmage Emeritus lets us draw a card when we do the instants and sorcery casting, and Teferi's Ageless Insight gets us deeper and deeper into our library as we go along. Thieving Magpie, old school from Urza's Destiny. When it deals combat damage from opponent, draw a card. Thopter Spy Network, we do control artifacts, so hopefully we'll get a few little Thopters coming around and draw some cards off them. Solemn Sim is Solemn Sim. Wiretapping is the first time I've played this card in any deck. This seemed at home in here. Whenever you draw your first card during each of your draw steps, draw a card. So you're drawing 2, which is nice. Then if we have 9 or more cards in our hand, we can play the card that's been hidden away for free. We should be able to get 9 cards in our hand quite happily for our upkeep based on everything else we're playing. So hopefully it'll work. Defiler of Dreams helps towards that thing. You know, whenever you cast a blue permanent spell, draw a card. Jace's Ingenuity draws us 3 at instant speed. Metallurgic Summonings gives us more constructs that we can beat down with when where their power and toughness is equal to whatever the card was we just played that turn. And 3 and 2 blue, we can exile it and return all instants and sorcery cards from our graveyard to our hand. Activate only if we control 6 more artifacts, which by the time we're at that point we should do with a bit of luck. Plus it might be the 7 we need to flip Jin. We've got a fair amount of extra turn spells in here because we want to make sure we're getting the benefit of all the draws. So Temporal Manipulation is the first one I've put in. And then Alamorat's Archive. If you draw a card, except for the first one you draw each turn, in your draw steps, draw 2 cards instead. Thank you. Shark Typhoon gives us more creatures to beat down with when we cast all our non-creature spells. Consecrated Sphinx lets us draw more cards as things go around. Elgith Crossroads Augur from the original Commander Legend set lets us draw cards instead of scrying, which is quite nice with some of the things we've got over here that scry. We just draw all the cards instead, so made sense to have it here. Force Fruition, another way to mill our opponents out. Whenever they cast a spell, they draw 7. That'll upset a lot of people. And then Mind's Desire. Yeah. Get it in the right order. If we're playing Mind's Desire off this, play all the other spells first. So put this on the stack first, so it resolves last. And then you get all those lovely storms happening. Fantastic. Wormcoil is a Phyrexian creature, so it doesn't get bounced back. And it gives us something to beat down with and gain some life if we need to. The next one of the extra turn spells is the Epiphany. And then we've got Jin-Gitaxias, Progress Tyrant. Copies of our instants and sorceries, and everyone else doesn't get anything. They get their first one counted each turn. Mind's Dilation exiles the top card of their library. If it's a non-land card, you may cast it without paying its mana cost. Yep, like that. Nick stuff from other people in blue. Nexus of Fate is the next extra turn spell, and that's followed by quite quickly by Temple Mastery. And then Overflowing Insight. That's so we can draw 7 cards if we need to at any stage to get Jin flipped. Treasure Cruise turns up next, just so we can do the delve thing. That's why we're playing things like the Broker's Hideout, Evolving Wilds, Fable Passage. We'll use them as part of the delve cost. Ancient Silver Dragon, just so we can draw even more cards. Could draw up to 20, which would be quite nice, and have no maximum hand size. Just got to get the damage in. And One with the Multiverse, the new one from the Brothers' War. We can play 1 card from the top of our library or our hand without paying its mana cost each turn, which makes life a little bit easier. But, we've also got the Magic Mirror. No maximum hand size. We get to draw cards. Each spell costs 1 less for each instant and sorcery card in our graveyard to play. And, we just get lots of draw out of it, which is cool. Portals for Phyrexia. Blows up people's creatures, and then we get to nick things out of graveyards, especially if they've been discarding stuff, so they haven't got Reliquary Tower, etc. available to keep their hand size maximised. Omniscience is here. because, you know, one omniscience is not enough, or 1.5 omnisciences is not enough. Time stretch, more extra turns for us. The original Jin-Gitaxias, the core auger, is also here. At the beginning of our end step, we draw 7, and each opponent's maximum hand size is reduced by 7. Yeah, okay, I can cope with that. And we've got commit to memory, just to make sure we can shuffle everything back in at some stage if we need to. Plus it gives us the 7 cards for 6 mana, and hopefully enough that we've got 10 mana in play and we can flip Jin. The other ways we've got to do things, multiple choice, just for us, so we can get the card draw, and then the return a creature, and then the 4/4, and try and do X at 4 so we can do all of the above. Yep, okay, I'll pay 5 mana for all those effects, thank you. Fascination, each player draws X cards, or each player mills X cards. We're going to do the draw thing, obviously. And then prosperity as well, each player draws X cards. We are just going to try and mill them out using our wonderful thing here. Now, obviously, the X spells don't work when we get to the final stage on Jin, but, you know, everything else, playing it for free, sign me up right here, right now. And that's it. That is my little take on Jin-Gitaxias as another one of the Praetors I've covered. Obviously, there's Urabraska I covered a couple of weeks back. I'll keep dropping them in occasionally when I've had a brain thought, but I thought Jin-Gitaxias was the next one to hit up today, so that's why it's here. I hope you've enjoyed the video. I hope you're going to leave me a comment and tell me what you think. And hopefully you've hit the subscribe button. She'll be back for more the next video that goes up. Thanks for watching. And if you want to see this deck played, come and check me out on Twitch. You can find a link down there. Go over there. Give me a follow over there. Hit the bell icon. You'll see when I go live. And if you jump in the chat and tell me you're here and you're one of my followers, you get access to my little secret Discord channel as well. So, hey, it's all good fun. But thanks for watching, and hopefully I'll see you all over on Twitch very soon. Take care. Bye.